Hunt is uniquely trained and highly motivated. A specialist without equal, immune to any countermeasures. There is no secret he cannot extract, no security he cannot breach, no person he cannot become. He has most likely anticipated this very conversation and is waiting to strike in whatever direction we move. Sir, Hunt is the living manifestation of destiny.
That iconic line still stayed true to this day, even in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Ladies and gentlemen, that's right, I am finally back.
Ah, the good old days.
It's been way too long since I've last posted on YouTube, and whether or not you've subscribed to me before, you're definitely here to see me review Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. And I know this is a little bit of a late review because I got caught up on a bunch of different things lately. However, I did see the movie in the Dubai premiere either way. So here's my non-spoiler review for Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning for all of the people who are still doubtful and general Mission Impossible fans who have still not seen the film. The last film of a franchise that I hold so dearly to my heart and I love so very much, to the point where I rewatched all 7 movies within 3 days up until the Dubai premiere. And not only did I have such an amazing experience rewatching those films, I definitely hold a stronger passion for the franchise now, and I surely love the final film too. It was just perfect in my opinion, and I hate sounding biased, but thinking about it, it's not even that far-fetched to call a Mission Impossible movie perfect, because it can definitely reach the length of being a perfect action film. And a lot of the genuinely great Mission Impossible films definitely lean into being a perfect film, so it's not that crazy to call this one perfect as well. And speaking about the negative complaints about the film, I'm just calling it all BS, man. It honestly just feels so empty, and people are just complaining to complain, because there is no way you can walk out of that movie as a true Mission Impossible fan without a big smile on your face by the end. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is quite nostalgia oriented in the right ways, smoothly connecting and circling back to previous specific movies within the franchise and making it such a rewarding and fitting final film. Yet simultaneously, this is also a very heavy film in the best ways possible, with a meaty story and a near 3-hour runtime that just flies by, because they really went to a great route of filmmaking and storytelling to where the pacing just speeds by. In addition to that, there's also having epic action and camera work, storytelling, and the score in the film. Everything about that just makes this movie feel so major and so grand, and helps keep you easily hooked all the way through, especially if you were a big fan of the franchise since day one. Emotion wise, whilst watching it, it made me feel ecstatic, ethereal, and extremely happy all in all. And that just goes to show how much of a roller coaster of emotions type of ride this movie can be, especially if you are a super fan as much as I am. This movie legit had me having visceral reactions. It was so moving, very unpredictable, most notably from that final act too. Christopher and Tom Cruise and the rest of the cast and crew really gave it their all, and you can tell they put in a lot of care into the script and care for the audience who love the franchise and understand perfectly what we want. It's got exciting and well choreographed action once again, but this time in fresh, cool, new environments. And it's got incredibly impressive stunts. Plus, filmmaking wise, it's also really impressive and worth giving them props for. Not only does this movie look great and stunning cinematography wise, it's just crazy how well thought out they had this all planned out. Like for example, the plane stunt in the final act, it takes a lot of skill to pull that off and know how to keep your actor alive whilst pulling off multiple very good camera angles and shots. That's just insanely impressive. Not just from Tom Cruise, who's at his big age of 62, but also from the production team for keeping him alive too. Onto the death-defying stunts that definitely kept us on the edge of our seats and so highly mesmerized. The underwater slow burn sequence, man. Peak absolute action cinema right there. The addition of having no music makes it feel so raw and even more gripping, and keeps your attention on screen better because you just know that it's all real most of the time, and you're just so interested to see how he could do what he does in that 125-pound suit that he's wearing underwater, or even that legendary final act plane stunt, which I truly believe is the most batshit outrageously insane stunt out of the entire franchise. It's even more real and significantly less safe than the underwater scene, I believe. And in general, during that final act plane stunt, the stakes were so high that the entire world was literally relying on Ethan Hunt just to get on that other plane and do what he needs to do. Now on to the villains. These villains were both in Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning and The Final Reckoning. Gabriel is played by Isaiah Morales. He's kinda goofy, but you gotta love it at the same time and give him props for it. I honestly don't believe that there is not that many bad Mission Impossible villains, apart from from Mission Impossible 2, but he's just so goofy and silly, but also so crazy at the same time, like he's just rage baiting Ethan Hunt the whole time. Even in the final act plane stunt, he was just laughing in Ethan Hunt's face and smiling really widely and just trolling him the whole time, whilst also being so full of rage. At the same time, there was still a darker, looming villain at large, the entity AI. It was insanely scary for Ethan Hunt and the entire franchise, and it definitely helped keep the stakes at an all-time high. I gotta give praise to the cast too. What a fantastic ensemble, having such fun and interesting groups play out within the film, with chemistry that just works like clockwork, and this just had too many specific actors from movies and TV shows that I just love so much, to the point where it felt a little bit weird seeing on the big silver screen, especially in a franchise like Mission Impossible. But I still love their performance because they definitely brought on something special onto the table. Honorable mentions to Nick Offerman, Holt McCallany, and Trammell Tillman, my Mindhunter and Severance and Parks and Rec GOATs. I just loved every second of all of their screen times. And we definitely need to see Trammell in more movies. He just has such a great comedic sense to him. Overall, I loved it. It was a super beautiful and epic send-off for the franchise, and that final act and ending was the best route that they could have ever gone in. It's just too perfect. The stakes are just at an all-time high within the franchise, and I could even go as far as to say the stakes are so high it's one of the highest within the action genre. And it stood perfectly for how iconic the franchise is and what it means for all of these amazing characters, and their chemistry and the sadness of it all in the final act just flows so smoothly, and it's so crazy to witness. The writing was simply on point. Hell, I'm already craving to rewatch it, and I've already seen it 3 times. We should all definitely and collectively thank and applaud Tom Cruise for carrying modern cinema at his big age of 62 and showing us how insanely real and raw and dedicated filmmaking can still be in the modern day without an overuse of CGI or green screens or whatnot, and that just makes me so happy to see, man, and I hope to see you in more roles. My final rating is simply a 10 out of 10. I know that seems like a crazy rating, but I'm a huge and a true fan of the franchise, and I just truly believe it's a 10 out of 10 throughout. Like, I would not change a single thing. There are a few Mission Impossible movies that are purely a 10 out of 10, and this movie did luckily classify as one of those Mission Impossible movies that are a 10 out of 10. It's certainly sad to see the franchise end, but it ended on such a high note and it ended on such a beautiful way that I definitely do not want to see another film in the franchise or any spin-off or anything like that. And it does kind of suck that most of the people who does review this film negatively, the stuff that they do criticize on are stuff that I actually like. So I just honestly believe that most of the negative reviews or bad criticisms are just honestly BS. And people are just complaining to complain. And even besides complaining to complain, their reasons to complain are just purely stupid. So either way, you should not trust any bad review, but you should not even trust my review. I'm just calling out the bad reviews either way. But you should watch Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning with a clear mind and an empty head, and just watch it without saying like, oh, it's a good movie or it's a bad movie, and just go with whatever you think is going to be the best experience. And if you think it's a good movie by the end of it, then good for you. I liked it too. And another thing, I also highly urge you to rewatch all of the previous films in the franchise, not just because it's important for the storytelling within the final film, but also because it's heavily entertaining, so why not? So ladies and gentlemen, that is my review for Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button if you guys enjoyed, and comment down below your thoughts, and comment down below what is your guys' favorite Mission Impossible film. Mine is Mission Impossible 3, and I'll definitely be posting a Mission Impossible official full franchise ranking video soon, and be sure to follow my other socials in the description below, and I'll see you guys next time.
I need you to trust me. One last time.